Think that I just come in there and look for knockoffs, and that's not the case. I'm actually a sharp, smart fighter.
So, well, I'm here. Who wants to fight me?
I really don't care who's in front of me. I don't feel like no fighter beat me.
Welcome to Bodywork.
If you're not in shape, or if you're not on 100,
welcome back. It's Michael Rogers. Welcome to Bodywork Boxing. It feels so good to be back. I hope everybody's doing all right out there. You know, I wanted to double back and you know, this is going to be more like a state of boxing. We're going to talk about some things. Me and AC ain't did a live in a minute. And I wanted to do the one that I did the other day, kind of like by myself. But had he wanted to get on or something like that, I would have, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, that's my co-host. But I wanted to do it because sometimes I do content and I don't be wanting the messages to get misconstrued that, you know, even though I have people that ride for me and they, you know, they agree with me, you know, in most of my messages, not everything, and not yes men, but sometimes I gotta let everybody know that a lot of the times, man, it be coming from me. Because sometimes I might have to say something about somebody that I really rock with, or I might have to say about somebody that I know that they really rock with, and I don't want it to get misconstrued like that they're representing me or I'm representing them or whatever. So I did the 3-hour live, man, and it's wild because Roy, the things that I said in the 3-hour live where I broke it all the way down, I used so many different things, and you know, I illustrated so many different points using different sports and the direction of different sports and how fans treat those sports and how this is a niche market. And all I really got was a bunch of fanboys in their feelings, getting all emotional, talking about how the live was trash and all this. Delete. You bring nothing to the conversation, then your presence or your commentary is really not needed. And I don't care if people disagree with me, but you gotta have something. You gotta have some substance, not just raw emotions. Even in that live, I gave a lot of examples to balance out, to be fair, to go against my own thesis. And that's all we came up with was a bunch of people and their feelings. And I'm pretty sure I know who they were because I put up burner account friendly. I used that one. I haven't used that one in a long time because it does invite that kind of energy. It invites trolls, but we don't smack trolls in the head and all that. We just sit them in the corner and make them take this verbal abuse by using the truth. With no further ado, I got AC in the booth. What's good, AC, man? How you been, man? How you doing, Brody? And shout out to SA Killer Bees, Frenchie Gang. Salute the Cookie Monster. Bodywork. Mic check. Sounding crystal clear. That's what I like to hear. Do the shimmy, y'all, shimmy, yay, shimmy, yeah. Give me the mic so I can take it away. Salute to Vesh Remy, fam, 1, 2, 3, 4. I appreciate you being in the building, man. Gonna be in for a treat, man. We always dive a little bit deeper with this boxing talk. We kind of stay off the beaten path, but this is a hot topic right now because boxing is going through what I have identified as an identity crisis. And it's so wild because, in typical pussy ass fashion, I had a couple people that come out and just did the antithesis. I seen the comedian from Florida. He pretty much came out and did a video today that was basically in contrast. He used damn near the same thumbnail and everything. That's why I say I don't respect these. You can't be respecting these people that just because they got a whole bunch of numbers and stuff. These people be uninspired. You know what I'm saying? Because how do you just come out and because I do something like this, you're gonna come out and do the antithesis to that? It's just like when I came out and I put up a post saying that the Dubois and Fabio Wardley fight was, pretty much it was like a heavyweight classic. It was an incredible fight. I mean, I don't know what more you asked. That gave me that old school vibe when we had the heavyweights and they had you sitting on the edge of your seat. You know what was going to happen next, but everybody knew that fight was not going to go the distance. And had it went the distance, I'm sure a lot of people would have won a lot of money. And out of all of that, he comes out and say it wasn't a great fight. Now, we do have our critiques and our criticisms and all that, but I also heard, seen somebody come out and say a lot of y'all was wrong and now y'all know where to be found. And I'm like, that's just the state of boxing right now. No matter who you picked in that fight or what you had or whatever, it was an incredible fight. It was a war of like real heavyweights. That was like a throwback. That's the feeling that I got when I watched it. That's the feeling that my father-in-law got when he watched it. I'm like, if you complaining about that, and I was saying that in the build-up about the UK fans, I'm like, y'all all in the comments complaining because of the build-up, and here y'all got everything y'all want. Two guys that kind of got a little bit of bad blood. They're going to come, they're going to bring it, they're going to try to knock each other out. Hell, Fabio Wardley dropped the dude in like the first 10, 15 seconds, and then dropped him again in the third round. And Dubois kept his composure, got back in the game. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, he wound up ending the show. Did it last a little bit too long? Should the corner have saved it? We can get into all of that. But like, I was telling them, man, appreciate what you got. And I said, imagine being a U.S. heavyweight boxing fan right now. We are getting left in the dust. All the juice in the heavyweight division is definitely across the pond. What are y'all complaining about? And somehow, some way, Kellerman, Max, one each came out and said that wasn't a great fight. I'm like, these are the people I always say, he who controls the printed page controls the thinking of this age, and this is where we are at. If you look at that fight, you do not need a mic. You do not need to be commentating fights. Like, how are you getting a check? That's just my opinion, man. Those are my initial thoughts and whatever. But I came out and did this, and of course, people were doing the antithesis like they always do. I mean, I be trying to tell y'all that a lot of these people, man, they're not really creatives. You know what I'm saying? They creative people like AC be saying, they're creative people, but they're not creators. They'll just sit around and do the answers because they don't have nothing. They got a whole bunch of, they do the same routine, the same jokes, the same punchline, the same old gimmicks, talking to the same dumbass people all the time. And I'm like, your people, they actually give you money to say that dumb shit, like to say the same thing over and over again. I told you, it's an act. That's why I always give my real name, and I do not leave my real brain when I come over here and talk this boxing stuff. I bring it with me. So I beg of you to bring it with you, man. But you know, this is kind of like a back end, a catch up, a well-rounded meet up, and we let the beat brew. We normally go live like every other day, and then, you know, we have our little things where, you know, we have it scheduled out or whatever. But like, I was taking a little break, man, because boxing do get frustrating, man. And I don't want to get online and be all angry or whatever, because I care about the sport. I don't care what anybody else say. That's why I say, man, I be coming from a place to where I want to see the longevity of the sport. I hate that my sport is starting to look like WWE, WWF. You know, and Roy, he came out and he spoke and he said something. You know, I'm like, protect this man at all times. That will be the meat and potatoes. I just wanted to give you a precursor to that. Let y'all know where we at, where we stand. We still love this shit. Some kind of got to be wrong with us to love boxing, but it's like an abusive relationship. You know what I'm saying? We don't always get what we want, but we're appreciative of whatever we get, and we always going to make our selves available to be open-minded, because you have to. You know, you got to mix it up. You got to hit it from the back sometimes. You got to change it up, man. Everybody coming out with the same old missionary style, just doing the same old thing, talking the same old narratives, wanting to be the part of the same old get along, go along gang. And here it is that Roy Jones spoke out. Protect this man at all times. You know what I'm saying? This man has to be protected, man, because where there are many people with microphones and platforms, he is the only one that has spoken out with and got angry, got upset, showed it, and he has the right to. So I don't really give a fuck about what a little comedian from Florida got to say, especially when you're going up against with somebody like the great Roy Jones. It's probably just like how people feel when I go up against Tim Bradley. Only I use facts. I use his words, his hypocritical words. I don't just come out and be anti-Roy Jones just because, you know what I'm saying, I'm pushing the agenda. No. That's not what we do. We breaks it down. So that's what's gonna be the meat and potatoes, man. So I wanted to give y'all a precursor to that. What's going on, AC? You there? Yeah, Frenchie's gang.
Yeah.
Go ahead, AC.
No. You just called me because I was still watching the Roy joint.
Oh, yeah. I was just saying. I was introducing you or whatever.
But
you know.
Besides that awkward moment right there, but everything been good, man. I've been working on some stuff, man. My joint is crazy. I wanted to actually send the finished version to you to let you look it over and everything, to see how the whole thing laid out and everything, as far as that proposal. But other than that, man, this boxing stuff just been crazy. Like I said to you early on the phone, I wasn't going to a lot of channels or whatever, but I was just reading headlines and seeing if they made sense or whatever, and then I'll investigate and see what you got to say. But I went to this one dude joined Philadelphia channel, cool dude. But it was just funny as hell the way people are when you talk about certain things that actually relate to this. And I don't want to get ahead of it, because now that I'm listening to what Roy was saying and everything, yeah, it applies to that Philly guy too. But I give him credit for this one. So yeah. That's where I land at.
Okay. Yeah, we'll get into it. We got a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the housekeeping. Let's see. Let me get it up here. Let me see what I got. Number one, Loma Chinko, Prairie Dog retirement. I don't know if it was a Jim Carrey movie. I think it was a Jim Carrey movie, or was a Chris, what was his name? Chris Farrell movie. I don't know, but I remember he looked and the little kid, he asked him, he was like, "Hey Dad, I think I'm prairie dogging it." You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so odd. It is so odd, the fashion. And you know, this is how you know, and this might tie into number 3. Well, this is how you know that boxing is really on some BS right now. Because, yeah, we had the war and all that, but remember, Loma came back from that. Because recall, Loma stopped. He actually stopped Kambosos. And then Richardson Hitchens went on. Kambosos got back in the saddle. He got a dub under his, you know what I'm saying, wing. And then Richardson Hitchens fought him. He stopped him even better with a body shot. But Loma had got back in the saddle. He was all in the run. And remember, Top Rank had 3 of the straps over there. That's why we was coming down. Well, I was coming down personally on Shakur, because it made no sense. He had that 6 fight, $18 million minimum deal, meaning that he could have made way more than that depending on the opponent and what was going up. We went over the opponents and all that. It made no sense for him to leave where it was 3 straps over there on his side and then go over the matchroom and turn down the little conversation. People say, "Oh, with just conversations." Well, that's how contracts get sent. They was trying to open up dialogue to have a negotiation. They wasn't calling him to see if he wanted to go play top golf or have some tea and crumpets. They were trying to get it on, and he said, nah. He went over there to Eddie and said, don't even negotiate. But then he was claiming he wanted to fight Loma. Then he ultimately doubled back around. He fought Zepeda, who was with Golden Boy, was his mandatory. He was going to get that whether he was with Top Rank or not, because that was the mandatory. And then he wound up fighting Tio. And now they were saying that he wants to fight Moritalia. I'm like, well, you didn't have to leave Top Rank to do that. You really didn't. So I was looking at Loma and I was saying, man, it's wild, because AC always say, how did we get there? Because a lot of people had a lot of criticism for Tank for actually choosing Lamont, but you got to do your history. And if you're going to be a realist, you got to state the facts, and the fact that Loma was the top priority and he was going to fight Loma. Loma was like, nah, I'm doing family time. And then Loma just ducked off, and then somebody else got his belt. You know, and ultimately when they left that belt, because that was the IBF. Yeah, that was the IBF. So Cruz wound up getting it, and Moritalia wound up getting it, and then he defended it against Cruz. So that's how we got there. But Tank's first option was Lomachenko, and he went away. And we was like, oh, he got all the credit, all the celebration, all the, oh man, finally he got all his, what they call flowers. I call them salutes. I'm not giving another man flowers. I never have. But I gave him his salutes and said, hey, you know, looking back and all that, yeah, because I respect all the fighters. Are they my favorites? No. But I respected them. So I find it real odd that he's scheduled to come back in fall of 2026. I'm like, why now? What done happened? You had enough of your family? I mean, you got your feel of your family that early? And that's why a lot of people keep saying that Bud ain't gonna be retired. And it's like, I'm tired of all of the games. I'm tired of all of the, you get out of the fire right when it's time, because I always say this as a Tank fan. I always say, okay, cool. If you want to say that Tank ducked Loma and all that, I don't get into those kind of arguments. My perspective on that whole ordeal was that we already know there was sides of the streets, and we already know, because people play that game to where they sign a contract knowing how Top Rank work, where you pretty much going to work within the confines of what the contract says. You're going to work that out. And all these promotional companies do this. You have a time when they're building a prospect, they're matching them. The fighter has to fight whoever they put in front of them, because they're actually building him. So earlier on, when Loma was calling Tank and all that, Floyd was in control of Tank. So even if he wanted to, And Floyd, the little beef that him and Tank had, he would weaponize that like the time when he was like, I'll make you fight Loma, and it kind of made everything stupid. But like the dude from Baltimore, it's like he grew up like he was sleeping outside the gym. Like if you with the heroin nation, the heroin capital of the nation, it's like he's not scared to fight anybody. It was in a time when he was under the reins of Floyd. But what I would say in all honesty, and I can do this, is that as a huge, probably the biggest Tank fan out here, is that what people will say is that during the time when you was in that division, this guy was there, this guy was there, and this guy was there. It's the same thing I do with Shakur when he was in the same division as Mr. Gary Russell, when he was down there with Oshaki. It's the same thing I did with Bud when he was in the same division as AB and Regis before they got washed. You know what I'm saying? And those fights, it's the same thing. I'm like, well, you shared the same division as them guys in history, especially now with how people control everything and how they paint narratives and how they put everything. And because there's always an agenda, they're going to say, oh, well, you was there. Why you didn't fight this guy? And they're going to put the onus on it. It's going to be a lot of echo chambers. It's going to be a lot of robots. It's going to be a lot of zombies with agenda that's going to say that. So I was saying, no, listen, you can't get the benefit of saying you ducked me all this time, and then when I go to fight you, you say nah, and then the crowd say, oh, you waited till he was too old and all this. Well, Devin said he was too old and too small 2 years before he fought him. And that's his claim to fame right now. That's all people talk about, the Lomachenko. But when he got in the ring with Lomachenko, Loma looked at him and said, oh, he's a middleweight. Nobody says nothing. So when Tank wanted to fight him and he duck off and go do family time, Tank don't get the benefit of saying, oh, with Loma ducked me. That is a duck. That's a duck. I don't care what nobody say. So that ship was righted right there in the history of whatever's going on. Well, I offered you a fight. You was gonna get plenty of money. And Loma's like, man, oh, it's not about the money. Well, what is it? Because you might get your ass knocked out. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? That's what it was. So we went from Loma to the talks verified by Steven Espinosa, and when it came out, it all came out. It was that Shakur wanted a multi-fight deal, and people was like, "Oh no, that don't sound right. That's not." Then Tank just wanted a one-off. He just wanted to hit it and quit it, smash and dash. Shakur was like, "Nah." It was further cemented when you found out that he had a multi-fight deal with Eddie and them. So it's like, which one? But the knee pad wearing, throat coat spraying, tonsil jewelry displaying, reach around, extending, using fans. I'm not going to acknowledge that. And here we are in 2026 when this guy been MIA. He been missing in action. Now you're going to come back in the fall and everybody going to jump right back on his jock strap. Nah, you prairie dogged it, man. If that's a duck if I ever seen one, man. So y'all can enjoy it, y'all can hype it or whatever, y'all can get all on it. But like, aren't y'all tired of these boxers playing us like that? I could see if you had something going on in your personal life. If you had something like you know, my guy, he's caught up in legal stuff and he's trying to come back, and they keep announcing whether it's Pitbull, Lamont Roach. I don't do all the day-to-day and all that. I just want to know when I get something concrete, something I can talk about, and I can do a legit video, not just put his name up on something, not just make up some crazy title and say, oh, I heard that he went to the barbershop and he got an edge and yeah, he got a cut. No, I don't do all of that. If I got some actual factual, I'm gonna come out and I'm gonna do something real, something creative about it. I'm gonna speak on it in the way that we do it over here in Bodywork fashion. But this is crazy, man. And Loma need a lot of heat, man. People need to speak up because silence is consent. That's the mantra of the channel. So it's odd that in 2026, fall of 2026, Loma just popping back out now. And ain't nobody really going to say nothing. They're going to jump right on his nuts. Number 2, Crocker versus Liam Paro is set for July. I'm like, meh. I mean, I don't believe that Liam Paro is a true 47 pounder. Why? Because he got washed by Richardson Hitchens at 40. And that was just a clinic. And my whole premise, when you go back and look at that video, when I was like, Legacy Defined was the name of that. And I had him as the Black Panther versus the Green Goblin, right? And I was saying that, man, he's not going to be able to get around his jab. And once Hitchens get comfortable, he's just going to be able to, like, unload on him, get off, get out the way, and his arms are really too short to box. He's not as technically sound as he need to be. But Liam Power is a good fighter. I just think that it's one of them things like Pitbull Cruz at 40, fighting anybody that's not around his height and his size. But anybody else, the natural 40 pounder that's up there, he's not, his frame is not, it's not conducive to 40. He's not that athletic. He just got a hellified chin. He knows how to throw those overhead punches like Madonna. It's just like Kambosos being at 40. You don't really belong. You know what I'm saying? It's like, imagine Kambosos going up to 47. His arms are too short. He's not that tall. You know, skill-wise, if you don't deserve to be in there, yeah, he can get feisty. He got some veteran savvy and all that, just like Liam Paro. But I don't think Liam Paro's dimensions are fit for 47. But we're getting that fight. And the reason why I'm saying I got my fingers crossed about this is because once that happens, guess what's going to happen? If Liam Power win that belt, everybody and their mother going to try to mix it up and try to unify. The same way Devin was begging, and they was up there on TV, Bill was up there on TV begging to fight begging to fight Catterall. Catterall going to have some smoke. Catterall got a big fight coming up. So we're going to see him, but people are going to come out the woodworks to get that strap up off of Liam Paro once they fight, if Liam Paro gets past Crocker, which, I didn't see anything really from Crocker that really jumps off the page at me, but I think it'll be a good, across the pond scrap. And I got my fingers crossed. Why? Because then 147 won't really be as whack anymore because people are actually going to try to unify and make fights. We just seen Devin duck Rolly for unification, and we don't even know what the hell, who he going to fight, where he going to go. But it's big implications because, unlike all this stuff that's going on with Zuffa and all that, people who actually been following and invested in what's been going on pre-Zuffa, pre-Turkey, and all his shenanigans. We are invested because these are the sanctioning bodies with all the flies in the ointment that's there, but these are the ones that we are seeing, and that's been the working system that we've been accustomed to. So it might help 147 get back on track because people are going to try to fight Liam Power. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to fight him if he win that scrap. The third one, PBC haters show their hands again. It's so crazy because I heard a dummy today talking about how when Al Heyman was doing it, Al Heyman was not doing what Zuffa and them is doing. And I can't believe you got you be having 100 something people sitting around listening to this dumb shit that you be saying. Al Heyman was not doing what he wanted to do it, but these guys were small franchises, and he was the guy that was linking up the franchise. I always use the example of Mr. Wonderful from the Shark Tank. Well, if you have a plane company or a charter company, and then you have somebody that has a cleaning franchise who specializes in cleaning aircraft vehicles, and then you have maybe a concessions type or a snack type venue that follows along, or you might have some comfort things, like you might sell pillows or things that make your travel safe. He'll take each one of them franchises and they'll put them all together and they'll mix them up so that they all eat based on the aircraft. That's all. In the sport of boxing, he was putting different franchises up against each other, right? And saying, okay, this is what's going to happen. We're going to have you fight you. But they were all they were all their own franchises. This is totally different than what Zuffa was doing. But it's crazy how now people are on, they'll say that that's what Al was doing, and they shunned him for it. Sounding dumb as shit. They'll shun him for it, right? But then they co-sign what's going on with Zuffa now, saying, oh, well, Al was doing it. No, if it was wrong when Al was doing it, and now y'all saying that this is what Zuffa is doing, but now it's right, you a hypocrite. Just like with the David Benavidez, I pointed this out. This man goes up 25 pounds and stops a unified champ who only lost to one guy who's also on a pound for pound in Bivol. I had to ease up on him for that because I was like, he gonna beat the shit out of Zerto in my opinion or whatever. But I said, let me give Zerto some more respect because he only lost to one of my guys, one of my favorite guys in Bivol. That was his only loss, but he had 48 victories. He goes up 25 pounds and stopped this guy, and they treat Shakur like he's better than David because T.O. came and didn't fight. And I've been seeing shit with T.O. and his father been coming out saying that wasn't my son and somebody threatened him and all this. Well, I don't know. I don't really care. I just know that just like his father said, you're gonna hate yourself tomorrow, because he was sitting there looking at his son not doing nothing, not selling out, just running straight into a jab and getting check hooked. But somehow, some way, people still want to put Shakur above David Benavidez, and I had to ask myself why. Because before, Shakur was on record saying that was one of his favorite fighters. If not, I said that he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. I wasn't hearing many people. He got anointed by Mike Tyson as the Mexican monster. He's going up doing everything. So now he's ducking João Batalha, who left. I pointed out this earlier. He was the champion at the IBF. He fought the number 10 in the IBF. They both went over to Zuffa when, as the champion, he could have just fought the number 10 guy and stayed where he was at, knowing, because it was reported that after Zurdo, we was going to get a João Batalha and a David Benavidez. So now David Benavidez is ducking. So I said, hold on, man. This man moves up and stops the guy, because a lot of people knew pretty much he was going to win. They was like, they were looking at the stature and all that and said, hey, man, this guy's pretty big, man. I don't know. He's going to win, but I don't know if you're going to stop him. He stops him, and they're hating. Moving the goalpost, saying this man got to go up to heavyweight, but ain't nobody saying that Shakur fully got to go up to 147. It's catch weight, catch weight, catch weight. Now, I did cringe a little bit when I heard David say catch weight with Bivol, but it's not that bad to me, because I know that Bivol said he was going to go to cruiserweight anyway. So whatever fight they're going to agree, that's going to be a great fight. But they're going to agree on it because that's a fight that everybody wanted to see. That's a fight that was supposed to be made after Bivol beat Beterbiev, but guess who got in the way? Turkey. Said, don't bite the hand that feeds you. Why? Because David Benavidez was with PBC, still is, and he got in the way of that fight because he didn't want that fight to go over there with the PBC. That is the common denominator, y'all. And everybody want to gallivant and trance and just jump all around and prance around all this, but this is the big black elephant in the room, pink elephant in the room. Let me change that. This is the big pink elephant in the room. People are always going to figure out a way to shit on the PBC, and it's crazy. It's crazy. I just gave y'all an example about the Zuffa versus the Al, even though Al wasn't doing that. He was trying to do something similar to that, but it wasn't the same. But you'll have these dumbass creators come out there and lead you by the nose and tell you, open up your mouth and say, and you're going to be like, and they're just going to put whatever they want in there, and you're going to walk away, and you're going to echo that. You're going to repeat that. You're going to regurgitate that. Like good little zombies. And that's not the case. The big thing is they always have a bullseye on the PBC. They can't do nothing right. Like now, people are coming out the woodwork hating on Earl coming back. Why? Because he went to PBC. They hating on Tank. Why? Because he went to PBC. Jamel can't get a fight. Why? Because he went to PBC. And when they talk about these things, you gotta just sit and look at how everything changes when they go from this fighter to that fighter, or this promotional company to that promotional company, and how it always stays the same. Never give people from the PBC credit. Even when you got a guy like David who's doing everything. He just took over Cinco de Mayo. He slow merged over into Canelo's lane. Stopped the dude. Went up 25 pounds. And people arguing whether or not where he at on a pound for pound, and they arguing that he needs to go up and fight Usyk. But they don't have the same energy for Devin, who need to be at 54, or Shakur, who could probably do what David's doing at cruiserweight in 75, just go back and forth if skills pay the bills. But they don't. He who controls the printed page controls the thinking of this age. And this is what we're dealing with, y'all. These are the things, like, and I ain't gonna say, because there's some things that I've heard and experienced. I'm not like, I'm like 90-10 when it comes down to PBC. I don't agree with every single side. There was some things that made me cringe, you know what I'm saying, along the way. But overall, when you look at the big fights, who made the biggest money, like all that, like Canelo was saying he loved it before he went over there to Turkey. Like everybody was saying that David is loyal, but loyalty is and then they use slave contract. That was the last thing. They'll use a slave contract over there with Al, even though they say it's never been a top ranked diet. They don't say a PBC diet, but they do say a top ranked diet. But then now everything that was going on with PBC was a slave contract. Yet they're co-signing this shit with Zuffa, to where Roy Jones just came out and spoke and said, "Oh, well, you ain't gonna have your own image, likeness, and all that. They're gonna own all of that." Once they get you over there, you're gonna be trapped. Look at the UFC fighters. Look at why Ngannou was trying to get over there to boxing and why he ultimately came over to boxing. Why he fought Fury. Why he was initially talking to Wilder. Why he wound up fighting Ngannou. Why he wound up fighting AJ. If it wasn't an issue with them guys, why all them guys was complaining and all that? This is the same guy that's running Zuffa and everybody is mum. But if it's anybody with the PBC, there is an unwritten rule. There's a law. There's a code where they can't really give them guys any credit. Shit on them by any means, in any way, in any shape, form, or fashion. That is the housekeeping, y'all. What you got? What you got on that, AC?
Well, I'm gonna just pretty much speak on the Loma thing, and with the Loma situation, it's looking like something I had said is actually growing some sort of legs as I've been looking at it. Remember back when I was saying, the type of people that I could honestly see signing to Zuffa and going over there because then it'll be safe. They could have all of these safe fights and not really face any real competition, and everybody's going to talk about X, Y, and Z, how great they are. I said Devin, Shakur, those are the two dudes that I mainly mentioned and stuff like that. Loma coming back. The way that article reads, man, it reads like Top Rank probably going to reach out to him. But if Zuffa reaches out to him, he going to go over there and sign with Zuffa, because then it's another supposedly big name that Zuffa is going to offer a whole lot of money to come over and make these so-called big Zuffa fights, which it's like, against who? So Loma is at retirement, or he was retired, out the ring, living wherever, whatever, swimming in the swimming pool or jacuzzi or whatever. Now he's coming back, and like, who is Lomachenko gonna seriously fight? What weight class is Lomachenko gonna come in at? Like, if you really think about it, where Loma is right now, he's not gonna get in that ring with Abdullah Mason. He's not gonna get in that ring with any of those tough ass 135 pounders. You go down to 30, he comes back at 30. The first person that's gonna probably run to get that fight is Oshaki, just to get the payday off of you and to have that name on his resume. You know what I'm saying? That would make sense to me. So he's an old man in boxing years with a bullseye on his back. So I'm 50-50 on him coming back. I can see if he's coming back. I see him going straight to Zuffa, going to Top Rank. Who is he gonna fight? And Top Rank is not gonna pay him big money to fight nobodies like Zuffa will. So that's the way I see it.
Let me touch on that real quick. While I got you here, Loma. Only way I would really like it is if it's Morataya, which I don't think he was gonna fight because he would have just fought him, you know. And I think now with the experience, especially with Morataya having gone up against Andy Cruz, I don't think he'll fight Andy Cruz. He might, but Tank or Mr. Gary Russell. I mean, there's history with Mr. Gary Russell. They, you know, if they both been kind of inactive, even though, you know, Gary, he came back last year. He was my comeback fighter of the year. I would take a Gary Russell. I would take a Tank, because that's unfinished business. I don't care about what everybody in the powers that be. They got history. For years, they were saying, oh, Tank is ducking and this and that. And they played that game, and the media, you know, publicized it and made it all shitty, you know what I'm saying? And nobody really was checking them because they just wanted to ride the clout and say, yeah, and all the Tank haters get to, you know, put in their nipple rings and you know, and earn their beads, you know. So I would take a Morataya, I would take a Nashaki, I would take a Tank, and I would take a Mr. Gary Russell.
Okay. My only pushback to what you're saying is my concern would be at least concerning Tank. The other fights, yeah, you got some legs right there. But the fight concerning Tank, my only issue would be if that's the fight that's set up for Tank's return. You feel what I'm saying? This is his fight when he's coming back. He's announcing that him and Lomachenko is picking up right where they left off. You feel what I'm saying? Because Tank comes back and he gets the does his thing. Let's say he does Lamont Roach and stuff like that, and then Loma. Does he get the same impact credit as if it's his first fight back rather his second or third fight back? That's the question I'm asking you.
Well, I've been done with boxing credit. Like when it come down to how with when it come down to with Tank moving, they don't give him no credit. They don't give him no credit for he stopped Rolly, he stopped Ryan, and he stopped Barrios. But everybody else get credit. They get a belt. Ryan just got a belt off of Barrios, who he stopped, and he stopped Ryan. And he stopped Rolly, but Devin get to duck him. He don't get no credit, but anybody else, they wanted Rolly to fight Devin or Devin to fight Rolly. He don't, like, they gonna pick, the media, they gonna pick and choose. So yeah. I'm looking at like unfinished business. Why? Because when you looking at like the true size of these guys, like who are true 35ers and who's sucking down and doing that, like Shakur's playing dodgeball. He could make the weight, you know what I'm saying? He could be at 40, he could do 47 because he's bigger than T.O. and T.O. been there, and T.O.'s supposed to go to 47. But they give him all the credit. But he don't got to go down and fight a 30-pounder going to 35 and Oshaki. So that credit shit, I'm giving credit because they got history. So if they get it made or whatever, and especially with him coming off that inactivity, even though I don't think it'll be first, I think it's either going to be Pitbull or Lamont. I don't know. I haven't been really keeping up because one day I'm hearing Lamont, one day I'm hearing Pitbull. I'll take either one of them on the comeback. But like, I don't think Loma is brave enough to come right back and fight Tank. He gonna have to come back and get his feet wet. Hopefully, if it's the fall, because I thought that's what was being reported for Tank, like around, like not at the end of the year, but like around that time too. Like from what I've been seeing, you know. So I would give them credit either way because they got unfinished business. It's like, hey, y'all gonna fight. Fuck all the shenanigans, and they are true 35-pounders. Like they are true. That's their true weight class. Like they're not ballooning up or shrinking down. Like I still think, you know, I would give them credit. You know what I'm saying? I will, because think about it, if Devin get credit for what he did with Jose Ramirez after getting washed by Barbosa, I don't want to hear shit. I don't want to hear nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then they treat Shakur like he was the first one to beat T.O. When T.O. arguably lost to Jermaine Ortiz, he got beat up, but even though he escaped out of there by Claggett, and he got beat up by Kambosos. And Richards and Hitchens don't get no credit for Kambosos. So people pick and choose when they want to give credit. I don't care about the credit. I just want to see the fight.
No, I hear you. Me, I'm just that's the only thing. It's just like, the reason why I'm bringing up the credit is because if he gets credit in the media, then some of these, well, it's the way they play in these games nowadays. It's hard to like put a finger on it because it's so brand new, but it's like, okay, they play sometimes who did you beat last game, and then the who you beat last game, it's like, okay, you beat Loma. All right. What's Loma? What has Loma done? Whatever. Loma's been out of retirement. The last person Loma beat was Kambosos. Okay, so that was George Kambosos. Yada yada yada. Loma lost to this dude. He lost to Dev. You feel what I'm saying? And if you try to start to make that argument, or even if it even if they're trying to put it out there in the media sphere, the machine that's behind a person like Shakur Stevenson, Shakur comes back down to 35. Tank is making his debut at 35. They're both there at 35. Automatically, what I'm saying is, does the fight with Loma, because he may not get the credit, deter the fight of him making it with Shakur? Because you know the Shakurians are going to make all the excuses, and the machine behind Shakur will try to make those excuses as well and say, all right, then let's look at what Shakur has done in his last 2 fights. He beat Teofimo Lopez and he beat William Zepeda. You see where I'm going with it?
But yeah, but in typical New Jersey twerk, since Shakur's from New Jersey twerk, when New Jersey twerk, when he first come out, his first thing is say, I'm strapped in. Like the Shakurian is gonna be strapped in regardless. Because they didn't even peep the pattern just now, how O'Shaquie offered him that fight to get him his belt back, get the money back, get his title. It was already clear with WA. He didn't want to do that. He said he's staying at 40. He was talking about Ryan. He was talking about all these other, like Craig Connor. He was talking about all these other fights, right? So then O'Shaquie get lined up with Ray Ford. He do what Shakur said. He get lined up with Ray Ford. All of a sudden, he wants to go back to 35 to fight more tired. So they don't say nothing. So I'm like, I'm not paying attention to them. All I do is I pay enough attention to roast their ass. So I don't even care, man. Like Shakur, the dude been moving funny, bro. So I don't even give a fuck like what the Shakurians, what the media. I don't care because Shakur, he with Jay Prince. He with Jay Prince. He said, oh no, Abdullah, he's green. But you fought Zepeda. But it's like, man, dude, stop. But he's too green. But then Keyshawn is running up on him every 5 minutes talking about move up or fight me. Like it's just crazy, bro. Like the way they moving. So I don't care. I don't care what no Shakurian say about it. Shakur gonna do whatever he gonna do. His fans gonna be strapped in, mouth wide open, ready, throat coat, tonsil jewelry on full display. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't care. I don't care what they say, man. I just know that in order, like being realistic, Loma gonna come back and get his feet wet with somebody that they gonna pull somebody out that you know is tenured, but like probably long in the tooth or a little bit past it, or some kind of former champion to get his feet wet. After that, if they announce it's gonna be Tank and Loma, why not? Unless Loma go to Zuffa,
yeah.
You know.
And I don't have a like me. If it's within the first 2 fights, I'm good with it because it still is piggybacking off of the fact that the reason why Tank fought
You cut out, AC. You cut out, AC.
But it's sounding like, yeah, we never really got past the offer stage because these people were playing games. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't even get to the point where we're drawing up term sheets or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because they played that's my business phone, and I got my legal phone, and then I got my gym phone, and then I got my, I'm just a person that got like maybe 10 or 12 phones on me at any given time. So yeah, it all depends on what number you called, which is the right number to reach me. So it seems as though that's the way it is with trying to fuck with them, although we heard something a little bit more detailed than the fact that, yeah, we're trying to make this fight with you, bro. The 1 fight deal, it is what it is. This is what you said you wanted as well. So it's just, man, I'm just a little concerned with just this, in this era, the weird ass excuses that'll be put out there that will immediately become acceptable. And then when you try to say something about it, just like I was on that other panel and I was talking to a heavy Shakurian, and I was like, bro, how are you going to say whatever. If that man go back down to 35 and he don't fight Oshaki, that's a duck. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, how is that a duck? I said, simply because he offered him that belt back. Now he's gonna wait for the winner of this fight and then fight that guy and then go all through this roundabout to get a belt back at the weight class where you said you don't really want to deal with the belts or the sanctioning fees, but you want another belt. You said for Zepeda, he can keep that belt, not Zepeda, Mortaya, he can keep the belt, you just want the ring. So
yeah, that's to me, that's exhausting, because really when it comes down to Shakur, man, and I hate it, because I like Shakur. I just can't stand this. I can't stand what he's been doing. I can't stand how he's been managed. I can't stand how the media has been just excusing away things that they roast everybody else for. That's my only gripe. So if you're gonna move proper, like I heard this, and we'll transition after this. I heard this. I heard a dude say, a popular guy, he was saying that it wouldn't be right that once Zepeda and Roach fight, if that's what it's going to be. That's what I've been hearing. I've been hearing that, but then I'm like, is it going to be Tank versus Roach, or is it going to be Tank versus Crew? I don't know. But they were speculating that it was going to be Roach, and I'm trying to wait until they put it in concrete. But after Roach, the winner, if it's the winner, then he was saying the sanctioning body is going to get in the way, and that's not fair for Shakur. I said, see, this is that political bullshit that y'all do. Why? Because before Cool Boy missed weight, they had already scheduled for I Know Baby. Tell Shakur I Know Baby. What's his name? What's that Cuban dude? He's over there in Dubai. He got a high knockout ratio. Herrera, is it Herrera?
Yeah,
JDR. Yeah, they had already said that they already said that the interim strap was going to be for him in that fight that he already took. He already beat that dude. Like that fight was scheduled, so that fight happened after the Shakur and after the Oshaki and Fulton fight. But they had already scheduled that and said that was going to be for the interim. When Cool Boy missed weight, they changed their mind. That's why I said, where was the outrage back then about the sanctioning bodies doing that bullshit? That's why when Oshaki found out that Shakur was like, I'm not going down there to fight him, I'm glad Oshaki put his business first and went back to his proper division where he guaranteed to get the fights that he need to, the Navarretes or whoever's down there to unify and all that. And he happened to get a big fight with Ray Ford. I'm glad that he said, fuck it, and let it go, because then it went back to JDA Herrera. But he was saying it's going to be unfair if Shakur can't come back down and leapfrog anybody. It's like, you can't pick and choose, bro. You kept saying, bro, I'm just tired of Shakur, man. Because it don't make so. And how you gonna say that's unfair? Because they had already said JDR Herrera was gonna, like, the winner of that fight was gonna get the interim anyway. Yeah. So he want to come in and bogart. It's just like the shit we hearing with Bud now that Boots and Xander got all this. Now we keep hearing all. It's like, ain't you retired, bro? Go sit down. Get out the way. Like, so that's where I'm at with them. That's just how I feel about Shakur right now, man. Like, I don't respect it, man. Like, your skills, you do have skills, but like, that was my whole live the other day. My whole live was about that the other day, and how you want to be great. You want all the things that come along with being. This is like everybody wanted Tank spot. They want everything that came along with Tank spot, but they didn't want to be put under the same microscope and under the same scrutiny and under the same standards that Tank was. They just want everything that came with it. The fame and the glory and everybody saying whatever, but they don't want to do what he did. So that's where I'm at with them. I'll be battling the media and whatever, like, crazy ass shit they come out with whenever they do it, and I'll just be frying their ass on their double standardisms, if I can make up a word, when they do it, because we know they're gonna do it. Just like Max saying that Fabio and Dubois wasn't a great fight.
Yeah, but he said Shakur versus Teal was a great fight.
Exactly.
I'm like, okay, that's crazy work there, bruh. You know, so Max is just those. They're just gonna be who they are. It's you can tell that they when they when they get the speech orders to say what has to be said, they don't have a problem saying it, and they'll go right on cue, and then have you believing what it is. You know what I'm saying? Arguing about who belongs higher on the pound for pound list, David Benavidez or Shakur Stevenson. I was like, you really had to ask that?
Yeah, but I got one more for you. I got one more recent one. One more recent one. You know, Sugar Shane just pretty much stopped Bodywork, right?
Yeah.
Why are they acting like he was the first one to stop Bodywork? It was a guy named Brandon Adams, who's been looking for a fight, who already stopped. But they acting like, but then again, they not going to give nobody no credit. Like, that's what I'm saying. They hyping that up, and that's everywhere. They blast and salute. I was proud of the Mosleys, like the family tree, like the grandfather, the father, and the son. I was godly proud of them. But it's like, I see through the bullshit. It's like, we can't, like, come on, man. Y'all acting like, first of all, Michael Fox just beat the shit out of Bodywork and got robbed on the scorecards. We seen Bodywork did beat Virgil, in my opinion, in our opinion, but we talked about that ad nauseum. But why are they acting like Brandon Adams didn't do it? But Brandon Adams can't get it. And guess what? Jesus Ramos just beat and washed Sugar Shane. But ain't nobody singing his praises. Yep. Why? PBC, bro. Like, it's plain as day, bro. Like, it's an agenda, man. It's like, this is like, everybody don't keep it. If you just kept it boxing, but they didn't want to do that. They don't want to do that. So I just thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. So what's this meat and potatoes about?
Okay. The meat and potatoes. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. Well, but hold on. Let me get you. I ain't hear your thoughts on Crocker and Paro though. Before I move on, that's the last thing.
I'm gonna say it like this, because Lewis Crocker is again like the dude we was just watching this past weekend. That domestic dude, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. Lewis Crocker is like that. He's a really, really good domestic fighter. In my honest opinion, Liam Paro should eke it out on a split decision. I could see that easily. But if Liam Paro sleeps on, the talented, good a local fighter in Crockett, then here we go with another situation to whereas one of these semi low level names takes out another big name.
Like Morrell.
The fight, the fight could almost be 50-50 to a certain degree. But I would still lean towards Paro edging it. But I could see the Crocker upset in that. If the media would accept that Lewis Crocker beating Liam Paro is an upset.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to hear your take on that. Okay, well, yeah, let's get into the meat and potatoes. Take this down. So the other day, it wasn't a rant. It was more like me letting everybody know that I've been watching, I've been paying attention, but I've also been in a lab. I've been cooking up product. I've been coming up with ideas or whatever, and I get tired of feeding people. I get tired of inspiring people. I get tired of people looking at what I do and then coming out and doing the anti to what I'm doing. So I was like, I'm gonna take a little break for a second. I'm gonna clear my head on this a little bit. And then the other day, I went in and I was talking about, Tim Bradley and how he was on vacation co-signing the Zuffa takeover. And I'm like, are you for sale? Do you want the same check that Max is getting, Tarver is getting, Andre Ward is getting? Do you still want in on that? Because you on vacation, bro. You got money. You in the Hall of Fame. You got bread. Like, you're not hurting for change. You're not out here like how AB was before Dean saved him. Why are you saying this? Why is that so relevant? Why are you coming out co-signing speculation? And then I was sitting there like, why is everybody like so excited and happy about this? Why? One, because the people that are affiliated with Devin, they're gonna get some bread. It's the same reason why people keep saying we need Wilder back. It's like, no, you want to make money off of content because Wilder come back, but you don't care about Wilder because if he was in there with Dubois and Worley, he would have got washed. But I was looking at Tim and I was saying, why are you co-signing this Zuffa stuff? Why are you on board? Why are you sounding like you was happy that the government is passing this stuff, knowing that we just went through this with Turkey. We went through this with Triller. We went through this with Black Prime. Mikey Garcia hit a lick. He got $7 million from one of these companies. I think it was Triller. We just got paid off of it. That dude, what was that little dude? Like that little dude who, what was his name, man? A little annoying cat. I forgot his name. He was getting fights and then he wound up getting hit and act like he went out on a stretcher. He got a little funny name. I think he ain't from Russia, but he's from across the pond. But he did it. Like everybody was hitting a lick on all these new companies when they come in and they throw all this money around. And we just went through this. We just said, I said, man, that's why I was getting on the TBV and all them, because they pretty much sold boxing fans up the river because they got volume. And they like 7-Eleven. You can just go like 7-Eleven, McDonald's. They there all the time. They do this, whatever, but it don't mean that it's the healthiest for you. But when I'm looking at it, I'm like, Turkey just upset the game. He just inflated everybody's purses. And I was saying, listen, man, I'm not mad at you for getting the money, but what you're going to do is just like a child, where when you spoil a child and they don't realize the worth of anything and they don't have to work for it. Like if you had to cut 10 grasses, if you had to cut 10 yards of grass to get them Jordans, you're going to treat them Jordans a little bit better. But if somebody just give them to you and give you 2 pairs, you ain't going to care because they were just given to you. You didn't earn them. You didn't do nothing. So we just went through this with Turkey, and we seen how he kind of put a dent in the market at the expense of not making a profit, which is totally contrary to how me and you think at the very minimum, because we are business-oriented people. We're like, nah, man, that don't make sense. Like, we got a business. Like, we looking at it from business owner perspective. Everybody else looking at it like employees. They looking at it like, oh, man, I wish somebody would give me $100 million. But it didn't make no sense for Tim to say it. So I went on a 3-hour live talking about the numbers and how nowadays in basketball, in football, in all these different sports, even in baseball, like your numbers are everything. Like that's why there are analysts on ESPN to break down the numbers, to analyze, like to look at these things and then come out with something and say, hey, you want to know something interesting? This guy is on a 3-game losing streak, and this is why, because he throws too many interceptions. And he does. So everybody breaks down the numbers. So I broke down the numbers on Devin. I was saying, man, listen, looking at these numbers in these last 3 fights, it don't make sense. I'm not mad at a young black man for going to go get $100 million. You're never going to hear me at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro saying, hell no, don't pay him. That's truly hating. I'm saying, no, if they stupid enough to give you the money, take it. But at the same time, when you got a Hall of Famer who didn't fight like that, he didn't move like that. He didn't conduct him. Maybe at the end of his career, he moved like that. But like at the very end, he wasn't moving like, why are you co-signing this bullshit about the 100M? And I went off ad nauseum for 3 hours, just breaking it down, just saying, listen, man, nowadays, it's the art of survival. They're not trying to be fan friendly. You have boxers now saying, F the fans. I don't care about them. They don't understand boxing. And it's like, no, they understand boxing, but they also want to be entertained. And so after that, the great Roy Jones, one of my favorite fighters, it got to the point to where it's like I'm using Errol Spence as an example. Like if Errol Spence happened to do what Roy Jones did toward the end of the career, like with this Tim Tszyu, if he go in there and start getting knocked through the ropes and all that, I'm gonna do like I did with Roy Jones, where I didn't want to see Roy Jones like that no more. I was like, man, no, enough is enough. You done made enough bread. You all right. But the great Roy Jones, being the great fighter that he was, perhaps one of the best to ever lace him up, damn sure like the best in his era, he came out in Roy Jones' devastating fashion. He came out and spoke the truth. He said, listen, yeah, the money looked good. He said, but the way he broke it down, he said, listen, if they put the Muhammad Ali Act in place and they said it was to protect the fighter, that's like putting bars up around the bank, right? He said it's like putting bars up around the bank, and then because you like this kid and you know he robbed banks, now you want to remove the bars. Well, if it was set up to protect the fighters, why are you going to come back around and put something in place to not protect the fighters? It don't make no sense. And he went off. He said several things. He said, yeah, it's good to get the money. And like, yeah, the money look good now. He said, but look at the UFC fighters. Like everything I was saying the other day, he said it in, I said it in 3 hours. He said it in 16 minutes. And so I'm like, man, we got to protect this man at all times. And we got to applaud Roy for being able to speak up. And he said, listen, he said, man, he said something so crucial. He said, listen, he said, everybody is scared to speak against people with money because they think that something's going to happen to them. He said, I'm not going to do that. He's like, you're getting ready to get rid of history. He said, where it was, he said in the Muhammad Ali era, if you was waiting and you was in there and you was going to get it and you was looking to be a champion, you might not have ever got a shot at being a champion. He said, at least now it's like 4 different avenues to where you can actually be a champion. People conflate that. Is my note. People conflate that because they want to be able to say, oh, because I'm the champion over here, I should make you put yourself in a pretzel just because I want to fight for your belt. It don't work like that. It don't work like that in no business. But Roy Jones broke it down, man. He said, listen, man, he said, people, he said, y'all are buying into it now, you know, and because of the money and the numbers and all that, he said, but just look at the history. Look at what happened with the UFC fighters. Go interview. He said, nobody's talking to them. Listen to the things that they're saying about it. He said, so you're going to bring a guy that was over there that ran the UFC to come over here in boxing to do what they're doing now, right? And it look good right now. He said, but that money ain't going to last. That's the money to get you in. Once you're in there, you trapped. He said, you won't have no image. You can't wear these shorts. They're going to own your name, image, likeness. He said, you're not seeing that you're going to be in the trap, but once you get over there, you're stuck. And he walked off. I said, man, protect that man at all costs. So I'm thinking boxing got an identity crisis. We got greedy promoters. We got boxers that want elite pay, but they don't want to fight elite level fighters. They come in with every excuse not to fight the elite. And the fans are co-signing on it. You actually have fans saying, well, why would he fight him? Because we want a good fight. But yesteryear, when we had Sugar Ray Leonard, Hearns, Hagler, Durant, they wanted to mix it up over and over again. If they lost, they want their get back. They're going to go back and get their get back. They're going to move up or move down, fight the next one up that. But ultimately, they wanted to fight and prove that in that ring, they are the real deal. It's not like that anymore. And Roy Jones saying that we're getting ready to lose a lot of that. And he spoke to the biggest elephant in the room that I said. And I said, man, I appreciate you, Roy. Why? Because it was a couple lives ago, I sat up there and said, look, I think we're getting played 3 different ways. I said, we're getting played by what Turkey did. We're getting played by what Zuffa's doing. And we're getting played by the fact that they're not going to allow or engage. Just like that Benavidez and Bivol conversation when Turkey came out. Because they were saying, oh, he's just going to make the biggest fights. But why did he step in and stop Bivol? Because it's not about making the biggest fights. Why didn't he step in and offer no money for Virgil versus Boots? Because it's not about making a big fight. It's about them having control. And he said, listen, he said, if you are at odds with the guy, because he was calling them sheep, the sheep owner. He said, if you are at odds, if you were sheep and you were at odds with the sheep owner, you're never going to get a title shot. And that alludes to what I was saying the other day, because Yeah, they can give Devin $100 million or a $100 million deal to come over there, but then they're gonna have to find an opponent for him to fight. Are they gonna find, after they give this man all this money, are they gonna find anybody? Are they gonna pay anybody relatively enough money with any kind of danger to come over there and possibly upset the apple cart and beat the shit out of him when they on the hook for 100? I think not. That's why I said you got to be leery, because the fights are going to, that shit going to look more and more like what we saw with T.O. and Shakur. So where it's like, we know T.O. got more ability than that, and now the truth is coming out. Just like Kovalev when he said he took a dive against Canelo. After he had caught Canelo, then all of a sudden, the same shit that happened with Caleb Plant, winning all the way up to the 10th, 11th, then he fell down, he got up and was looking all stupid or whatever, knowing that the mafia told him, hey man, yeah, you could win this fight, but I wouldn't win this fight. Wink, wink. We're going to see a lot of that. Roy Jones alluded to it. Roy Jones alluded to that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying protect this man at all costs, and all these pussy ass dudes out here just talking this boxing and wanting to be, you know, saying because of Zoof and the check, and knowing that they might be able to do content, or they might be able to get an interview from one of these fighters. They're not speaking the truth. That's exactly what Roy said. That is the meat and potatoes. Yeah, I see that. I seen them saying that. I applauded them for I said, man, because what I applauded Keyshawn about, Dev, is that he said, what do you say to the fans that say that you called out all these names and only the fighter Albright? You know what he said? He's like, I'm gonna say that they're absolutely right. Man, my jaws dropped down to my goddamn knees. I said, what? Clout Sean spoketh the truth? Yeah, because I was one of them fans, the Linguini method. I was one of them people saying, oh man, look, man, y'all say all these names. You ain't fight none of them. Was I right about it? Absolutely. So I was glad that he said that, but then I know that's why I said when it come down to Jay Prince, I said you gotta look at Jay Prince. He got Keyshawn, he got Abdullah, and he got Shakur. Look how Shakur moving. Look how Keyshawn moving. And then look how Abdullah moving. I don't understand it, but I believe it. I believe it because they know that at home he can fill up that stadium. He can fill up that arena down there in Virginia. So it was a matter of him keeping his relevancy until they get, until they figure out the best match or let some things figure out and then match him with somebody else. And they just used the fact because they had to like toss Nair or something, especially with how he performed with the Ghost. So I said, man, I'm not jumping for joy for this fight. And I think that it could be a banana peel because I just heard Crush say this too. And I said it before too. If he don't do what he got to do, and look stellar, it can backfire on him. If he go in there and he fuck around and get a draw, they're going to say he regressed. If he don't knock him out, yeah, he getting ready to get that tank treatment. So where he can box his ass off, but if he don't stop him, yeah, he going to get the tank treatment with all that shit he be talking. So I believe him. I kind of believe him, oddly enough right now, but I was proud of him for telling the truth. I'm like, hey, man, you keep telling the truth, you might win me back over. Now, I will say he do go in there to trying to hurt you. He ain't going to try to go in there and patty cake, so I do give him credit for trying to actually hurt the other guys. He ain't in there trying to fence and defend, and you ain't got to worry about him only throwing 70 punches and not doing nothing to get out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? Like, to get, he's going to go in there and fight. That's what I do applaud Keyshawn is. He is going to brawl with you. He is going to swing them things, but, I believe him. I believe him that he didn't really want to do it. You know what I'm saying? I believe him because it's not right where he at. He could have got somebody better. And somebody else said it. Who was it? Who was it that said it? They said it was a step back. Tito. I think Tito Mercado said it. He said it was a step back fight. And right now, Nair Albright, he gained me as a fan. He won me over as a fan because I didn't see him doing that with the Ghost. So I'm like, hey, man, I kind of like Nair. I like him, man. I like the underdog story. I like how he moved. But Tito said you don't go from a guy like Jermaine Ortiz who shared the ring. Even though he didn't win, he shared the ring with the guys that T.O. He shared the ring with Loma, arguably beat Loma. Definitely, in my opinion, he beat T.O. It was just the business of boxing. You don't go from stopping a guy late like that to go down to a guy who people don't know in Nair. No shots, no disrespect to Nair. Like I said, I'm kind of like a fan now. I like his story. I hope he do well. I like the fact that he got a daughter and all that. He feeding his family and the story. I like all of that, but like you don't do that. And I do think it was a step back. So and Keyshawn know it was a step back. So if he don't look good in this could backfire. If he stop him in devastating fashion, they gonna sing his praises. Those are my thoughts on that. But yeah, AC, that's the meat and potatoes, man. When it comes down to this Rory, like this thing about Rory. What's your thoughts? I know you saw it. You saw what he said.
Yeah, for me, I appreciated everything he said because those were some of the same talking points that we were talking over here, and even prior to that live when we were just talking about it, like the business model is going to start to reflect itself, and just from what it is right now, it's just weird that those Zuffa guys, not the Zuffa, UFC guys, have been for years since Conor McGregor have been trying to come over and make big fights in boxing and stuff like that. So remember there was the time where Dana White said he wanted to fight Floyd Mayweather. He would box him in an exhibition and all of this other stuff. Just all of this type of talk. And over the years, you just always heard from black, white, Hispanic. It just didn't matter. Race didn't matter when it came down to many UFC fighters complaining about their pay and schedules, and if they're injured or want family time, they could be benched and all of this weird stuff that Dana and them had going on. So the thing that I appreciated the most was one of the things where he was like, look at Conor McGregor. In one fight, he made more money than his entire UFC career by coming over to boxing. And then if you follow that trend, look at Anderson Silva, all of those guys who made all of that money in one fight with just fighting Jake Paul in an exhibition boxing match. So yeah, everything he said has legs. Everything he said was right on point, and it was like, yeah, that's what's up. Concerning the Keyshawn interview, yeah, I did see that, and I was kind of shocked that Keyshawn was openly honest about it, and I was like, okay, I'll give you that one, but at the end of the day, I'm kind of in the same boat with you that for me, he got to stop Albright. If Albright gets off any rounds or has a run of getting off like 3-4 rounds, it's not going to be a good look for Keyshawn. You know what I'm saying? And this may not go well for Keyshawn's mentality. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, this fight has a lot of potentials in it, but again, his last fight offered those potentials in Jermaine Ortiz, and we thought that Jermaine was going to show up and do something different. He kind of fought a weird style and then got stopped, so I don't know what it was in that fight. So at least Albright been in there with him, and Albright might bring something completely different. I also wanted to talk on this point with Roy. I wanted to go back on this because I had wrote it down. When Roy was talking about all of these guys, wanting to be the guy, but haven't done nothing, didn't run through no gauntlet, and he was comparing like his day and when he was growing up watching boxing, he was like, people didn't care. That wasn't that serious. It was just a matter of who you fought. Like
right.
Yeah, Okay, so I fought Ali. I fought him twice and he beat me twice. Okay, what's your point? That's Muhammad fucking Ali. What are you saying? You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing that mattered. That's the thing that mattered with me uh, coming up and watching boxing and stuff like that. I didn't care if guys lost. Yeah, when guys lost, it did bother me. I was like, damn, I thought he was gonna beat him. You know what I'm saying? Even in real close fights, it is what it is. To also lean into that Fabio Wardley Dubois fight. You know,
Exactly.
I had Dubois, I had Fabio pretty much stopping Dubois around the seventh or eighth round. But you know, it was a tale of two halves. I didn't like Fabio's stance, and I didn't like some other things he did. But he got the two clips on him. Uh, he was rocking him. I mean, them dudes was throwing bombs, and Fabio, like you can't take nothing away from that. And anybody who tells me that wasn't a great fight, I'm just gonna look at you and be like, just shut the fuck up and get away from me. Because you the type of motherfucker that'll tell me Shakur versus Apeta was a better fight than that. And I'm like, man, go ahead, man. So uh, just on those points alone, with just fighters actually running towards the smoke like Abdullah Mason, got to give credit right now, even though I cook him a lot, is Boots. I got to give Boots the credit um, for doing this Xander fight, because for a minute it looked like he was running that route to whereas I'm telling y'all I'm running towards the fire, but there's another path over here that takes you kind of directly around the back half of the fire, and before you know it, it looked like I ran through it. You know, just the way the media say it. So I don't want to see stuff like that. I don't want you to try to sell me on the fact that you're running towards the fire and you're doing all of this stuff. But the clear movements are you're going everywhere around it, but that path, and that's why I kept on the other panel I was on. I kept on bringing up. Then why did he fight Lima? He had all the leverage, his name, everything. He could choose any of those guys he wanted at 154 pounds.
See, see, this is what they'll say. They'll say, oh man, that's they'll put it on Eddie. But they don't give that reprieve to like when Tank was up on the Mayweather. They don't do that. It's all Tank then. But see, they all do that. Like they have a plan, they have a path. They are the ones that kind of control this, even though they work for you, but like at the same time, they work for you, but like they do have more control because you're not the only guy, and they gotta line it up the same way Al had to line it up with all his little franchises that he had when each one of these bosses had it, but they don't do that. And to your point, I wanna before I forget, you spoke to something like with that Fabio Wardley. I was like, I almost got triggered. I seen this one guy post and he was saying, I was just waiting because most of y'all got it wrong and all this. I almost was like, see, you are what's wrong with boxing fans. And the fact that he lost, like, it's the same thing they do to a lot of people as soon as they lose. It's like, well, Usyk, that don't change the fact that Usyk dropped his belt and he getting ready to go fight a kickboxer. Yeah. Like, we're not going to rewrite history and say that, because if it was that easy or he thought it was just like light work, he would have just took that. So we're not going to go to where we just going to shit on Fabio. We know that's a heavyweight, that's a traditional heavyweight fight. And just like me, I've had losses. I fought one of my best friends. He was like, at the time, I don't even know if I was 5'10" yet. I might have been like 5'8". He was like 6'1". Older, taller, more mature, like bigger. Man had a full grown. I lost. I still fought his ass. I still caught his ass too. He caught me. You know what I'm saying? I lost the fight. But the moral of the story is sometimes you need to know how I feel to get your ass beat. Like, you need to know that. Like, sometimes, like, that's why I respect what Roy said. And a lot of people say, because when Floyd come up, when Andre Ward come up, with some of these guys, even Bud, when they come up it's like they try to treat Roy like he's the odd man out. But like when you look at it, it's like maybe Floyd might be up there as far as like Roy was special. Like Roy was that round when he didn't when he didn't throw no punches and he just bobbed and weaved and all that. And then that's why that's part of the reason why my channel was called Bodywork. He hit that man with a body shot. It was over. You know what I'm saying? Like Roy didn't protect his O. And he said, he accredited David Benavidez in the beginning. He said, I'm glad that some of the things that I did and the way I looked at it, it translated into some of these younger guys. Roy is not seeing that in these younger guys. He's saying David is going up and challenging himself. He's like, just like me. And if you lose, you lose. It's not about protecting your O. And sometimes you're going to lose. There's nothing wrong with knowing you got your ass beat as long as you fought. Don't pull a T.O. Don't go in there and put your hands in your pockets. Sell out. But I appreciated that. So I that was a good point you made about Roy. I just wanted to chime in about that.
Yeah, and for me, it was like I was sitting there laughing because when you brought up some of your friends or older cousins and stuff like that, I got beat up. You know, it just made me think of one time I got beat up by one of my older cousins because I kept on messing with him, right? I thought he was soft like that, you know what I'm saying? So he twisted me up in the pretzel and beat me down, and I was like, all right, you got it, all right. It's like one of those beat downs where you just saying, all right, man, you got it, all right. You know what I'm saying? But like when in the beginning of the fight, I did catch him, and you know, after that, it was just a wash. I ain't even gonna lie, bro. It was just a wash. And no, it just made me think about Cuzzo and that whole situation like that. And it's just saying, even when I have fights with my friends, I would say this. Sometimes the fights were 50-50 when you fighting your friends, and people may not, you know, want to accept this or whatever. There are times you arguing, but you just don't want to fight them. You feel what I'm saying? It's like, bro, I'm just arguing with you. No, I'm not trying to fight you right now. You know what I'm saying? So y'all get into it. He wins. It's like, you happy now? You want to fight. So what? Like, it still don't change the fact that what I said to you earlier is still the way my mind works, and it still ain't gonna change nothing. So it is what it is. So in boxing, that's the way it is. In business decisions, as long as you make the effort, as long as you put your heart in and you go through it, it's like, why train? And this is another thing Roy was talking about. Why train for 3 months in the gym, 8 to 10 hours, you know, running, dieting, stressing yourself out, got me going through the motion and thinking of a game plan. And then you get in the ring when it really matter, and you don't want to do what you just did. You're wasting my time. I'm showing you how to nurture this thing, how to grow it. You want me to plant the seeds, and now I'm teaching you how to grow and nurture. If you're not trying to nurture it, then why did I plant the seeds? And it's just like Roy was on it. Roy was completely on it, and this is what, you know, you look at fighters like the turn that Shakur and Devin are taking right now. Yeah, Devin, his turns are a little bit less drastic at times because you can see a consistent pattern, but it's just how you get there. The journey of how you get to 1 to 5 is the most disgusting journey. But we can't knock the fact that you do get to 5 in many of your fights and stuff like that, to a degree. So you give him credit on that. Shakur, you'll pump fake about getting to 5. You'll tell everybody you found a new equation to get into 5 and all of this other kind of stuff. And it's just like, no. What we're asking from you guys is not to change. What changed in you from the young Shakur who was at that interview? I think this was like one of your first major media interviews. It was from this dude from out here, Long Island. I forgot his name and stuff like that. But y'all was in some type of ballroom, and he was asking you like, yeah, you're coming up on your first professional fight. How does it feel turning pro after that? The disappointing Olympic, whatever. And Shakur was like, yo, I want to fight everybody. I want to show everybody how great I am. I don't care what champ you are. I'm going after all the belts. I'm going after everything. And then to look at who you are today, the kid, that kid that was back then, 126 pounds. You had all of us behind you after that Olympic run. Many of us didn't tease you and like, oh, look at this nigga crying because he lost.
I never did.
You. Huh?
Yeah, I never did. No, I never did. I never did.
Yeah, we sympathized with you because we knew that hurt. Because you really felt that you was that dude and you was going to win that fight. And you, in your mind, you thought you won that fight. You feel what I'm saying? The same way Floyd thought he won his fight, the same way Keyshawn thought he won his fight. But at the end of the day, people were sympathizing and empathizing with you, Shakur. And then when you come into boxing as a pro, this is the core of your fandom. You crying at the Olympics built your fan base. Some people got sparring matches, some people got this, some people got that. No, it's you, Shakur Stevenson, crying at that match when you lost that match and you got that silver medal. At least that's the way I saw it. Because then when you turned pro, everybody and their moms was like, nah, I'm trying to see what that Jersey boy gonna look like. Shakur, yeah, I'm trying to see what card he gonna show up on. Yeah, everybody wants to see Shakur. You have Funkmaster Flex and all of these dudes talking about you, Shakur, on Hot 97 and shit like that. Yeah, I remember that, Shakur. That's the type of fan I am of yours, or was. This guy that's here today, that's what that's what Roy's talking about. You didn't run through the fire, but now they're talking about you like you can pick and choose whatever you want to do. And that's like, nah, bro, that's not that. If that young Shakur that's in that ballroom had a chance to sit down and talk to this Shakur, he'd look at you and be like, bro, you pussy. I'm about to fuck you up, you pussy.
Yeah. Because it alludes to what I was telling. He spoke about, if Boots is to get past Xander and do what he do, like let's say he knocked Xander out. I hope he don't get to this, because I just seen the Beehive triple. They might have quadrupled in size and everything, and I'm like, what happened? Like, nothing happened since Lima. Like, yeah, the fighters on deck. We applaud Eddie for getting it across the line and giving us something that we actually, I look forward to seeing, and he can continue his legacy. But my whole thing is, these new guys, they got the I have made it syndrome. Yeah. It's like, no. Like, see, getting exposed to Floyd, like having Floyd and Bud and Andre Ward and all them behind you, you thinking that you've already transported into the higher echelons. Like, yes, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame, but you're young. You're still very young, quite young, and you got a lot of good fights. Like, you didn't go on no run like Floyd. They'll say accolade. They'll act like he did more than Floyd. We got people actually still shitting on Floyd. I'm like, hold on, man. I had to check somebody the other day. Like, I said, do I even want to argue with you about this? But no, I don't. But when it comes down to Devin, it's like, what he did with Loma, they standing on that. It's like, man, boxing moves on. And let's be honest, that wasn't the right weight class for you. We know if you one of them ones, you should be doing what David Benavidez did. So it's disgusting that David Benavidez now has to go to heavyweight to go do something, which is a trap. It's like, man, David, tell them to kiss your ass with your tongue out. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, because these guys won't even go up. He won't even go up 7 pounds to fight a guy who he clearly say he could just wash. All right, we'll do it then. But you got the I've made it syndrome. Devin, they got the I've made it. And the fans are starting that, well, he made it. And like I was saying the other day, you actually have fans that'll say, well, why would he fight such and such? It's like, man, like that same thing you just said, man. You smell like something that you shouldn't smell like.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you really shouldn't smell like that, man. You smell like fish sticks, man. It's like, you should not smell like that, bro. Like, you have not made it. Like, yeah, you had success, and yeah, like people applaud you, and don't get it misconstrued. This is not hate, because I called him the definition in my boxes to watch. I'm like, man, what was this guy that would make you miss and make you pay? Like, you reach, I'm gonna teach. Where's that guy? The guy that was confident, the guy that Wally was talking to, saying, all right, stop playing with this guy, stop this guy, I am. And then you get to arguing. If I can go back in history, you get to arguing with the great Andre Ward and the great Bud, and they were saying, no, because if you would have kept throwing your jab, because you stopped throwing your jab, like basic things that you were doing in that fight, and then after the fight, you say, oh man, he hit hard. It's like, man, but now you at a point, because what you did with T.O., like, you've made it. Like, you just made it. Like, now you can just pick, choose, and refuse. Nah, bro. Nah, man. So I've made it syndrome, man, it's running rampant. Like, look at how my guy Hitchens is moving. He just clearly just ducked Duarte. How did that age with Duarte getting beat up the way he got beat up, you know, and still got the decision? They robbed the shit out of Buddy, man. Like, that age, like, man, that was so bad. That was so bad, man. And then you drop your belt, and now you going over there, like, what do you, like, look at how Berlanga's acting. Berlanga lost to Canelo and had the I've made it syndrome because he got a bag. Like, this is where boxing is going. And Roy is keeping it a buck. But how many of the fans are keeping it a buck? Like, we got to stop it, man, because we taking boxing. If you don't say anything, this is why I always say, man, you got to say something. Why? Because if you don't, a lot of times, you know, something never happened and somebody say, because it happened to me all the time. It'd be a meeting, it'd be in a workplace setting, or it'd be amongst some people, and I'd be like, hey, man, blah, blah, blah. And they'd be like, man, I was thinking the same thing. And I'd be looking like, well, why didn't you say something? If everybody was seeing it, like, y'all know what's going on when we see what's going on out here with these guys and how they moving and whatever. And then y'all want to wait until hindsight. Like, people just now, like, when it took for rumors of Shakur going over to Zuffa, just for people to start saying, oh, nah, man, that's it. That's what it took for him to go to Zuffa? Not all these funny style moves that he made, and now y'all want to be some hindsight as 2020 is looking asses? Like, come on, man. We got to say something, bro. Like, just because you from New Jersey and you get to sit down with Keith Cologne and you got Shakur on speed down, you just going to condone all the bullshit for the sake of the sport? No, bro. I don't even do that with Tank. When that Lamont Roach fight happened, I came on and said what it was. I didn't say just because I'm one of the biggest Tank fans out here that, oh, no, it is. No, I came on and said, no, man, you was being too. I came on and said what it was. When Richardson Hitchens moved the way he moved, I came on and said, it took me a minute because I was like, man, let me get this guy. Let me figure out what's going on. When I figured out what was going on, I came on and said what it was. It ain't look right. It was a duck. That's what we got to be at, man. We got to be more like Roy, man. Roy was great for a reason. He didn't protect that O. He didn't move like that. He wanted to show and prove. Like Pastor Troy back in the day. Pastor Troy used to go around with a belt. He used to be in the club with a belt. And that was like a challenge. That means, you know what I'm saying? Like, and people used to challenge him and get knocked the fuck out. Like, no. So that's where we at, man. Like, we gotta say something. We gotta keep even if it's not the best thing to hear and all that, it's right, because where it's going and what is morphing into, it's like boxing has a true identity crisis now, where people, you know, they celebrate the accolades. It's like, okay, well, who was this guy? Like if I can ask somebody, remember that time I asked Shakur's biggest fan,
Yep.
who the first guy he fought, he couldn't tell me. But he'll argue with you tooth and nail. He'll go to every other channel and talk about you and be crying, bitching and moaning. But he couldn't even tell me who the first guy he got a belt off of. We gotta stop it. We gotta stop it, man. We gotta say something. Because it's almost too late. Like Roy almost said, he's like, man, it's about to be too late, man. And Tim is co-signing, talking about the Zuffa takeover. It's like, all right, we gotta let some time go by to see if they actually take over. Because once that money run out and all these people start and the powers that be that got it, that got him. You know, Eddie, right before I went live, I came out and seen something where Eddie said, I just got to see the little, it was like, I think it was like 6 or 7 minutes. I didn't get to see it, but the title said that Shakur and Devin or whoever, they will not be going to go fight for Zuffa. I don't know if it was clickbait because that's cool now. That's cool now. You could do clickbait because there's a lot of people that come on and they'll put something, they'll put Tank up there, they'll say whatever and do this, and you go look at the video and it's really clickbait.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they'll do that, but I didn't get to see it. But Eddie, I'm gonna go back and watch it after this. But Eddie was saying that they're not going to go over there. But if they are to go over there, we got to give it time to see how this pan out. But it's not looking good, man.
Yeah, and for me, I wanted to speak on that part right there, because the thing for me is, when I first saw it, like I said, I was 50-50 on it. And where I was on it, how I got to the 50-50 part, I'm saying to myself, okay, so what is it? A 10-fight deal for $10 million a fight, 5-fight deal, $20 million a fight. After that, what the fuck are we talking about? Like, what fight does Devin Haney make? And I'm talking about Devin Haney. And if let's just say the 100 million was true. If it's not a 5-fight deal for 100 million, you feel what I'm saying? What fights do he take or can he make that are worth more than 20 million? Some may say, well, he could do the rematch with Ryan. Okay, that's one. What about the others? Because once you look at it, and that depends on if Ryan goes over there. The only other avenue for it to work, for that business model to work, is Devin Haney is only fighting and his contract is only with the Ring magazine. Because the sanctioning bodies do recognize the Ring belt. And that's where I was like, is that their play? Like, what really is their angle on trying to, or Bill coming out and saying, you know, his Zuffa deal is going to be this, and then you hear, you know, a week later or 10 days later, Shakur supposedly 60 million or whatever. So you ask yourself, okay, who are these fights? And how many fights per deal?
But this the thing. This is what they keep saying. And I hate to use this example, but it's true. They keep saying, well, like Tim, I'll use Tim. Tim said, well, if Conor Ben can make 15 million, blah, 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 then what? They couldn't put another 5 or 10 on that. What's $10 million to them? It's like, but you're missing the point. Like, the thing is, yes, Devin has the accolades. So resume-wise, like if this was corporate, like Devin would be like CEO status, and then Conor Ben might be just now moving from janitor to like assistant or some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like in that realm. But the point of my show the other day was that it evolves around entertainment. Because as shitty as like the skill wise that Conor Ben got, for some reason they find a guy entertaining. That's why. So it's like with the style you got, yeah, them accolades ain't gonna travel but so far, and your track record has shown. See, he can say, you can go back and look at images, you can look at pictures, you can look up numbers what him and Eubanks did, regardless if it was a circus fight or not. They got the proof in the pudding as far as like, okay, people were checking for that, people were looking at it, people was talking about it. They don't do that as much as how accomplished Devin is. They're not checking for that. They're not checking for nobody who his last 2 fights, he landed 141 punches in 2 fights. They're not checking for that. So you can say, yeah, they'll pay him, but like we'll know that, okay, they got money to blow. They're making a splash like everybody else. But after that, then what? But when making the splash, who are they going to put him in there against that people even want to see? Because they just got think about it. They just got Bodywork and Shane. Shane just got washed by Jesus Ramos. Bodywork just got stopped by Brandon Adams. But it's the best thing since sliced bread today. Like, that's what we're gonna get, bro. Cause I'm gonna ask you this. As much as me and you would like to see him and Hitchens, is that must-see TV?
No.
Exactly. And you a Devin fan, I'm a Richardson Hitchens fan. That's not much. I want to see it. I've been wanting to see it. I've been saying it, but not in this capacity, because it like right now it don't make sense. But skill for skill, like if I say, all right, fuck who promoting it and all that, do I want to see it? Me personally, I want to see it, because I want to see if Richardson Hitchens is going to live up to what I think that he can beat him. I would like to see that, right? But I'm a hardcore and I'm a Richardson Hitchens fan. There's not people be shitting on. Nobody want to see Richardson Hitchens. They be saying, oh, he need to take his black ass and blah, blah. All this other shit they say. I'm a fan of him. You like Devin. Devin is grown. He gained some more respect from me from what he did for Brian Norman. But that's not must-see TV. Devin and Conor Benn. That's not must-see TV. Conor Benn ain't been the same since he popped. So that's not must-see TV either. Like, do people want to see, people are saying they want to see Shakur versus Devin, but like really, like when you really sit down and think about it, like right now, like, I don't know, like I would watch it, but like, are people gonna be like trying to break their neck to go see that? Like, I don't think so, bro.
I think people would break their neck to see more of Devin versus Rolly than a lot of those.
Exactly. A fight that was going to sell, bro.
Exactly.
That fight was going to sell, bro. Rolly beat Ryan. You got a history with Ryan. You celebrated when Rolly beat Ryan, but now you said the money was right at first, but then the money wasn't right in the end. Well, what happened with the money? Did it evaporate? Or you might think that might be a little bit risky. You know what I'm saying? That would have completed the triangle. That like Rolly would have sold the fight. Devin would have had to go in there and prove that he is who he say he is. Rolly been working with David Morrell. He been working with Joseph Brown. His skills have been getting better. People wanted to see that fight, bro. That had equity in it. That was the only one that made sense at this time. Or yep. Keyshawn. You know what I'm saying? Keyshawn, you could have threw Keyshawn in there, but I think Rolly, the fact that it was a unification, it checked all the blocks.
Yeah, Rolly was the fight. You said, why not? And here's the thing. Devin Haney said, why not beat the guy who popped dirty fighting me? I mean, I think I said it wrong. He said, why not fight the guy who beat the guy who popped dirty fighting me? Or something to that effect. And I was like, wow. All right, so this fight is for real, for real. Okay. I can't wait to see this one.
I was kind of invested in it. I said, "Oh shit, we get this. I get to answer one of my triangle, because I be doing triangle theories. Like people say, oh, we don't do triangle theories, then they turn around and talk about common opponents. I'm like, it's the same thing, idiot. But that would have closed the triangle. It's just like Tank, and Tank, Pitbull, and Roach. Yeah, like the triangle's closed. So we got empirical data we can go by, like Devin, Ryan, and Rolly. It would have closed the triangle. We would have had empirical data to say, okay, who really got whose number, and then with rematches involved, we would have got more, and it would have been. It was a no-brainer to me. But like you got fans saying, oh no, it was just Rolly. It's like, nah, man, you thought, man, it was a possibility Devin might have got his ass whooped. Now he could have proved us wrong like he did with Brian Norman, but you know what I'm saying, or that what Rolly did with Ryan was a fluke, or Ryan was going through some things or whatever. But ultimately, I'm thinking Rolly and Ryan was gonna have to get a rematch. It was everything, man. It was. So,
you want to hear something? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I was done.
I was gonna say, I was listening to somebody talk about Shakur, right? And what Shakur could do at 140 if he decides to stay at 140. It might have been Showbiz or somebody like that who just made some video where he was talking about a bunch of people, and basically they were talking that Shakur could fight a pit bull Cruz, he could fight this, he could fight that, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, okay, I need to just bring up this one stat and this one observation. Shakur never got hand surgery. He claimed he found a solution once the Tank fight was no longer being discussed, and Tank's within the media sphere, Tank's case was a life sentence and stuff like that. So basically, he was like, no, my hands is fine. I found a solution. I'm good. My hands is good. I'm good. So I'm thinking about that. And then I'm thinking about the stats of people who punch harder, much harder than Shakur, but all have fucked up their hands, wrist, or something, punching upside Pitbull's head. And I'm thinking to myself, like, Pitbull is the dude to beat Shakur. In the fact that he's gonna force Shakur to use his hand to box and or run. You feel what I'm saying? Then that depends on how the judge is gonna see the fight. But Pitbull has a way of putting his no diddy, putting his head in a position to whereas once you start to hit that shit, you're gonna fuck your hands up. You feel what I'm saying? So, I'm just like I'm just these days leaning more and more like, Shakur, stop talking about Pitbull Cruz. That's the dude to beat you.
But this is the elephant in the room though, and I know I gotta update this because Richardson no longer holds this. But like, it's not odd to you, man, that they never talk about the guy on the far left, man.
And he was just on that recent interview talking about, he want that smoke.
Who?
Your boy. Gary Antoine, he was on some interview where he was
he do. He do. Because we all, that's why it's on my intro. He said the goal is to get all the titles, all the belts. His brother co-signed and said, no, listen, he's on the quest for undisputed. But media, they never link. Like, after all this time, like, remember when Richardson hit his beat Cambosis? It was like, oh, you got to fight Gary Antoine. But, like, there is never no pressure for Shakur to fight Gary Antoine. Like, nobody makes videos about it. Like, why? Like, they act like the man got, you know what I'm saying? Something, you know what I'm saying? Like why? It's a reason. They want to find all these little oddball fights or past Tank opponents and all this, but when the Tank fight was on the table, he didn't want to do it. He want to go for everybody to kind of still try to, I guess in his mind, build it up. But they never talk about him and Gary Antoine.
No.
And I bet you we'll get him but they crucified. Remember when he said he don't want to fight me, so I'll probably fight him last because I know he don't want to fight me. They crucified Gary for saying that.
Yeah.
But it ain't no pressure for Shakur to fight Gary Antoine. Why?
And this is why I was saying in the past, in his last interview, I seen him. I don't remember who was interviewing him. He looked like he was standing in front of he was in Vegas, but maybe he was in a lobby mall or something like that.
Yeah, I saw it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's when he was talking about, if you got a belt, you in my way and I'm coming for you. And he said, listen, Shakur, if he gonna hold on to that belt, whatever he gonna do, you gonna hold on to that belt. Let me find out you staying there and holding on to that belt. I'm coming for it.
But that was a clickbait title, bro. The way they titled that was click, because I clicked on the instant. I said what, and then I'm like, man, this is clickbait, man.
Yeah.
One that was dated. It was a little dated because something was said, and I'm like, okay, that's the time when that happened. I was like, for one, it was dated, and they clipped it, and then they put that title. I was like, man, If you want to see, you know, big voluptuous thunder butts, and then you get in there and you see a bunch of milk of magnesias, you know what I'm saying? That's clickbait, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that was clickbait. But yeah, I saw that interview too.
And I mean, that's the only thing that kind of gave me hope. And it was like, all right, if he could make it happen, and you know, he could put all of this stuff together and go on the run that I think he gonna go on, then go ahead. I mean, the hurdle was Gary Hirioka. I mean, after that, just go on your run. You know what I'm saying? I don't see, like, he can be undisputed at 140. I think he can go on that run. I think he could have one of those Mel Charlo type runs where he might get a draw here and then have to rematch, fuck around, he might even lose a fight, and then come back and get the instant rematch and just go on to, you know, one by one, straight up out the mud, win, lose, and draws.
That man Shakur ain't got no intention on getting in there with Gary. They used to spar. He done went down there with the Russells and got mad work. He don't got no intention on getting in there with Gary. They waiting Gary out, man. Gary will probably get Dalton if Dalton hold on to that belt, but Dalton just did some funny shit with the Puello fight. I'm like, man, boxing. Yeah. Nah, we needed you to legitimize that. Yeah, you did what you did with Puello. I mean, with Matias, but like, that was funny. A week after he said, yeah, I would love to fight Shakur, then he pulls out with some kind of injury. It's just like I seen Callum Smith right before the David Morrell fight, talking about, yeah, I'm good now, I'm back. I'm like, man, how ironic. Like, the day of this guy fight this guy, then look what happened with David Morrell and that guy, Chelly. You know what I'm saying? Perhaps one of the upsets of the year. That might be upset of the year right now. Like, I don't know. I gotta weigh my options. I gotta look at my notes, you know, but that might be, you know, but and look at how that age. Just like, man, they gotta stop playing these games, man. And these are guys that's with Eddie, you know. I mean, they don't got it don't help that, once again, Gary Antoine, the elephant in the room, he with the PBC. That's why they not saying it, man. Like, somebody stop me when I'm lying when I be pointing out these facts, but like, until somebody get up here, ask for a link and say, hey, you know, and prove me wrong, you can't refute what I'm saying. That's why they ain't doing it. That's another reason why he don't want to fight him, and then he with the PBC, so the media ain't gonna push nothing like that. You never hear that. I have not seen one person do a video about that. They'll get Gary on, they'll get Antoine online saying something, you know, and trying to spice it up so people can go into the comments and drag him. But it ain't no pressure saying, hey, Shakur, when you gonna fight Gary? It ain't none, because he can pick, choose, and refuse, because they are catering to the I've already made it syndrome. Just like they catered to the, instead of saying, oh man, like, damn, Devin, you said the money was right, and now you saying the money ain't right. What happened? What really changed? That's a unification at that. Instead of saying that, they gonna say, oh man, nah, Rolly didn't really want that fight. It's like, it's putting no pressure on Devin. It's like, Rolly didn't want the fight, but he sent the offer. And the first thing Devin said, what they never say, was the money was right. That was an anomaly. They never say that. But in hindsight, they'll just say, yeah, Rolly didn't really want that. He was clout chasing. Yeah, okay.
How do you chase? You don't clout chase when you put ink to paper.
You know what's funny? They said the same thing about O'Shaquie. He clout chasing, but he got approval from Suleiman to get him his belt back. He was gonna pay him an extra 120, so you could just put an extra 120 on top of whatever salary you got, because we're gonna cover down on your fees and get your belt back in the division where you say you want to be. Oh, he just clout chasing. He ain't really want that Shakur smoke. Oh, yeah, okay, all right,
bro. That's what homie told me. He said it. He repeated what you just said, damn near verbatim. He was like, "Oh, you believe that? That shit is clout chasing, bro. Like, where Shaqy get like look at Shaqy purse. Where he gonna afford to just throw away $120,000? He ain't got that just to put up like that." And I was like, no, he said it's gonna come out of his purse. Him and the WBC already agreed to it. Suleiman came out and was like, yeah, it's all a go. I'm good with it. Oh,
He
that was,
couldn't even send the offer. That would have been, he could have got sued. He couldn't even send an offer with that in there. You know what I'm saying? If that hadn't already been approved, that's how you know they don't care. They just want to
exactly.
put the knee pads on.
And
So
I couldn't even get to that point, cause then you know what was said to me? You know
what?
what was said to me? Oh, oh, you supporting Oshaki on this? And I was like, yeah, that's what you do. That's how you run a dude down. That's the same energy y'all dudes said with Morel Chase and Benavidez through divisions and stuff like that. He was like, oh, this guy must be a Tank fan. And I was like, what?
Yeah, they
Like,
just pop Tank out. I see that so much. They just pop Tank name up. I'm like, I don't even address it no more. Yeah, yep. That's what
I
they
was
do.
like, bro, where the fuck did that come from? No, I'm just like, yo, bro, I'm telling y'all, I'm a fan of the sport. I like certain fighters, but I've been watching boxing for so long that I've seen all my favorite fighters that were like really, really going after it, chasing that smoke and greatness. I done seen all of them lose. So I'm just asking the question, bro. I'm just pointing out the facts that, listen, it can't be clout chase when the sanctioning body approved it. Once you sign onto that contract or y'all start to get those negotiations, the sanctioning part of it was done prior to that. That was done prior to that. Normally, that part goes after the fact. Listen, we got this fight on the table. We're looking at it. Let's sit down and talk. Do you accept? Yes, no, yeah, okay. We're gonna make the fight. Now we're gonna send all this paperwork to the sanctioning body. These niggas went out their way and made a specific offer and a request to the sanctioning body. That tells you it's not a cap. When you go out and do that, that's why people, I'm like, listen, this is why nobody wants to talk about it, because it's the gravity of what Oshaki did. When you go out there and you petition the sanctioning body, you're writing a letter of appeal to the sanctioning body to say, listen, this is a special circumstance. I'm asking you to appeal your decision and reinstate Shakur Stevenson so I can fight him for his championship belt. I will forfeit a portion of my earnings to pay the sanctioning fee that he is remiss on. If I was gonna put it in legal language, Oshaki team did shit like that, bro. And y'all gonna try to say that's anything but gangster. When Shakur went and everybody was talking about the dev thing, and he was like, well, what's Shakur supposed to do? He went to the WBC and made the WBC make him his mandatory. That's what you're supposed to do. Okay, so Shakur was coming up from 130 pounds to challenge the 135-pound champion. That's the way that shit worked. He was at 130 pounds. He couldn't find a fight. He challenged the 130-pound champion. Oshaki is champion at 130 pounds. He was challenging the 135-pound champion. That's just the way that shit worked.
You should forgot, but you forgot the Shakurian clause, man. It's like he can get the benefit of the doubt. He can talk without no action. See, but what really pounds the stake in the ground with that is that right after he do that, he follows it up by what Shakur's request was: fight my mans. He go ahead and fight your mans. So you can't even, like, it's nowhere around. Like, he got you. That's checkmate, bro. That's checkmate. You know what I'm saying? That's checkmate.
Bro, it's just like, listen, it's not hating on someone when it's just this obvious. You're just calling out what you did and comparing that to what he's already done in his own past. So at the end of the day, I don't see that as clout chasing or anything like that. And then on top of it, he then says, okay, since you didn't like the way I was talking, after I did all of that legal stuff to reach out to the to Suleiman and stuff like that. All right, you don't like I'm talking, so I'm gonna see how you like how I fight when I beat the shit out of your little partner over here. You know what I'm saying? So
son.
yeah, that's
I gotta spank the son to get to the pops. I'm gonna do it. That was a noble gesture. I'm like, man, like it ain't nowhere around. They ain't know who they were talking to. AC, they ain't really know, because it's like sometimes you just gotta let them talk, and then boom, and then they get, like you said with the frequent flyer thing, like, you know what I'm saying, like crickets.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
it's just, you know, they ain't know who they was dealing with, man. You know, they just like regurgitating and waving the pom-poms, but that shit don't be making no goddamn sense.
No, it don't. And then at the end of the day, I'm gonna just land right here real fast. It's, you believe the most ridiculous talking point, you know what I'm saying, just because you're looking for an answer to an obvious situation that makes you say, oh my God, my guy just ducked. So then someone comes out with something that just sounds remotely like it's common sense, or they put it in a way that sounds like it's common sense. And that's just creative wording. And you fell for the creative wording without never questioning the thing that you should have been questioning from the get. And it's like, look, we got people like Roy Jones, we got all of these, you know, legends that are going to look at this sport within the next probably 6 months, and all of them are going to start to come out and be like, hey, listen, American boxing, let's try to be America first on this boxing scene right here. Let's try to like reestablish making big fights here in this country. And right now, the only one that's like really leading that way is PBC, American Boxing Company, on American boxing on an American platform. You know what I'm saying? So that's the very definition of who's holding the standard of American boxing, and that's the PBC. So,
yeah, man. I think we definitely cooked on this one, man. I think we did this one justice. You know, even if we just woke up one person, because this is like Roy did an alarming wake-up call, because we are in the boxing matrix. And you know our favorite saying, I know this ain't steak, but it tastes so good. It's like that's it, you know, I know it tastes good, but it's not steak, brother. Go ahead and unplug, man. Take the red pill. And once you take the red pill, we can move and say what we need to say and act accordingly and deal with what is going on. You know, stop taking the blue pill. Stop putting your head back down in the sand and act like the bullets ain't flying, because you can still get shot in your ass. You know what I'm saying? Get up. Know that we at war. Know that what's going on. Knowing that it's some people. This is how fratricide happen. You know, there's some people on our squad that's moving funny. Let's go ahead and have some wall-to-wall counseling. If you got to take somebody back behind the woodshed and wear their ass out, no diddy, let's go ahead and do it. So we can, you know, we can be like I'm used to on some army shit. Like, we can get this shit right, set the standard. You know, yeah, we're going to have a couple slips, a couple pitfalls. There's going to be a couple casualties. We already had a couple casualties over there with the Zuffa zombies. But let's start speaking to things the way they need to be spoken to.
yeah.
You know, that's where I land. But where you want to land at, AC?
Man, I just want to land right here. Just to pretty much say we've had some, these past 2 or every other weekends, we've had some amazing boxing cards and stuff like that. At the end of the day, like I just said, we need to appreciate, you know, the fact that we're getting these fights in the setting that we're getting them in through the sanctioning bodies, you know, and that's where the meat and potatoes is. you're being sold something that's not even proven. That's someone telling you, yeah, we've got swampland in the Florida Keys that we're going to make into luxury, energy efficient lead houses that we're only selling for $2 a pop, and a 5 bedroom, 2.5 bath. You feel what I'm saying? With a swimming pool, will cost you $10. So you want to buy now? That's when you would get it now, because a lot of these units are not going to be here by the time this thing really takes off. And that's what Zuffa is promising people. That's what Zuffa is promising these fighters. And at the end of the day, us boxing fans, for some of us, it's a choice. And Zuffa is absolutely right in the fact that they're offering a choice. If your favorite fighter is a guy who's hasn't done anything, but he's ascended to, I can pick and choose who I want to fight. I've done enough in boxing that I can pick and choose who I want to fight. Then yes, Zuffa is your choice. You would hope and pray your guy signs to Zuffa and gets whatever money that they're gonna get, as long as that Zuffa trainer's paying. You know what I'm saying? And if it's within that scope of just a popularity contest and getting paid to be a part of that popularity contest, shit, bro, I have no issues with that, because I want to get on 50 world's best restaurants if I could. If I had the restaurant to do it, I would be out there making food that put me on the 50 world best. Doesn't mean I'm selling out my integrity, but I just know where the money is, and I'm gonna ride that wave until I say, you know what, I'm done with that, and then open me a burger shop that's gonna have a line around the block every day. That's what you could do sometimes if you have a smart marketing strategy to take something like a Zuffa and then make it work for yourself. You know what I'm saying? The one person that may have that ability, because they have shown no real loyalty to anybody, and they've accomplished a lot in boxing, that could be Devin Haney, that shows all of these guys how to maneuver in that Zuffa model, by making Zuffa sign a contract that's more beneficial to them, because they have the leverage. I'm the commodity. You need me more than I need you, motherfucker. You trying to build your shit. So it all depends. And at the end of the day, where I'm at, what it is, if this is the direction the dude want to go into, and he's one of my guys, and you want to fight all of these fluff fights that are basically glorified exhibitions or glorified sparring matches and get a bag, you're a young man. I'm not going to tell you no, because Jake Paul came into this thing and, he got all of those pay-per-views off of fighting MMA fighters and shit like that, robbing from boxing. So if you're going to go out here and be a young black man, and you're going to get that Arab money, and they going to pay you out the wazoo, being a young black man, that Arab oil money, bro, go get that shit. Go get it and spend it wisely. You feel what I'm saying? I'm saying the same thing to Shakur. I'm saying the same thing to any one of you young fighters that feel you've already made it. You know what I'm saying? That every time you get in your car, you're like, look like I made it. You feel what I'm saying? Playing back that song. So if you're one of them, go the fuck on the Zuffa, make that bread. Yo, bro, I can respect you on that. I know what you're doing. Finally, I'm caught up with you. Finally. Now all your moves make all the sense, because it's now about the back. Now I say, okay, fine. I can accept you in that role right there, because you just showed me everything I need to know. But don't go over there telling me you still want to fight the best. And that's where I land right there.
But good cook, man. Good contribution into your example, man. Don't worry about in all that swamp. Don't worry about the out of control python thing. That's, we got something for that. So don't worry. Just come on and move down. Bring all your pets. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be safe. Don't worry about all of the Burmese pythons and all that that's been, taken over down here. Don't worry about that. You know what I'm saying? But good analogy as always, AC. We gonna cook, man. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. On to the next one, buddy.
All right, man. Enjoy your evening.
You too, bro.
All right, man. Well, another great one in the books, y'all. I want to say AC got a point, man. I guess there is a place for some people in Zoo for, like, I think Berlanga. I think that the tale, like, because they went like Noah's Ark, they went in a tandem, by two. So it was Richardson and Berlanga. I think that was a right choice for Berlanga. I don't think it was the right choice for Hitchens. I think maybe El Rayo, that might have been at the time and what he had going on, it might. So it was, maybe Bodywork. It was a good, good one. It wasn't right for Jal Batar to do it. Jal Batar was the champion. He fought the number 10 guy in the IBF. But they went over there to Zuffa to do it. And it was already being reported that we were going to get Jal Batar and David Benavidez if David Benavidez got past Zerto. And so I believe that was a move to really get in the way and to stall out a guy from the PBC who was going to take over the reins. How? Take a piece away that you would have got like even more credit for beating. He didn't need to do it. So it wasn't right for Jai. It wasn't right for Richardson Hitchens. It was right for Bodywork. It might have been right for it looked like it was right for Shane. It's a couple guys like, that's over there. It might be right for De Los Santos. But it depends on where you at and what's going on with your career. If you had stall outs, if you one of them guys that you couldn't get a fight, like it might be good for a guy like Elvis Rodriguez. That might be a spot. So I'm saying, like, look, man, it might be a spot for some of these guys, but like what AC said, man, it's not right for everybody. And Roy is the only one that's speaking up, saying what it really is, man. And you gotta respect him. You gotta respect Roy. Roy should have got the gold. He got straight robbed. It wasn't like him and Floyd, they got straight robbed. You know what I'm saying? Robisi, people argue that Robisi really beat Shakur. I mean, that just is what it is. Did I clown Shakur for crying? No. It's natural to have emotions and cry. But I respect Roy, man. I appreciate it, man. And we got to protect that man at all costs. Because like he said, man, there's a lot of people that's scared. I know I say some things about some people that got some very big channels, way more numbers than me. Just because they got way more numbers than me, do that mean that the message that they put out is better than mine? No. They're willing to say and do things, and they're getting payola. I'm not. Even so, I can't be bought. I'm not for sale. And I got integrity, man. I'm not gonna acquiesce to anybody's agenda unless it's along with the truth and it's going to help the vitality of the sport. I'm here to put out things that's going to help the sport sustain itself, man. We getting ready to go into like full-blown acting. Like, it's already there. There's already fixed fights. I have yet to research this thing about Fabio Wardley and Dubois, but there's some rumblings about some things and some people are saying some things. Now, I do believe that his corner needed to save Fabio from himself. I do believe that. I think that was like, like a round or two before he got stopped, because Fabio wasn't going to, he never got knocked down. He was not going to give up. That's when his corner should have said, listen, man, he got this one. It's on us. We did it. You know what I'm saying? A la like what happened with Wilder. You know what I'm saying? Like when his coach did it, like so he could live to fight another day and not sustain so much damage. He had blood coming out of his ear. I think his corner should have said, hey, man, his corner should have threw it in and said, listen, man, that's on us. Like, blame us, but listen, we're going to go back. We're going to get the rematch. We're going to come back. But, like, I think that, I've seen some other things circling around, you know what I'm saying? And some people saying some things, but it's our job to just, it's our job, really, man. At the end of the day, if we love the sport, we got to just tell the truth. Regardless how much you want your guy to win, how much, because even in life, they say most millionaires, that became millionaires, they didn't went bankrupt. I plan on becoming a millionaire. I haven't went bankrupt, but I have owned a business before, you know, and made a lot of money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, but I do plan on becoming one, and I'm working on it. But when I have my setbacks, when I have my pitfalls, I don't sit up there and act like I didn't have shortcomings or that I fell short. I'm honest about my shortcomings. I'm doing an assessment. I sit down, look over my notes. I go over everything and say, okay, well, what did I do wrong? Okay, well, you was acting like this, or you was doing like this, or you wasn't as active as you needed to be doing this, or you didn't educate yourself about this. This is what we got to do about boxing, man. Don't just wave the pom-poms, man. And stop all this double standard. If you got one standard for Tank, but then a whole different standard for all these other guys, you need to check yourself. You know, you got one standard for the PBC and everything that was going on, but then you got another standard for Golden Boy, another standard for Matchroom, another standard for Zuffa, where they could just, like, come on, you got to check yourself. That's all Roy is saying. He's saying, listen, man, look at what's going on. Y'all looking at the money and all that, and he said, look, they put the big money over here to distract you from what's going on over here. It's the whole sleight of hand thing. And Roy talked about it. Y'all don't appreciate Roy? He finally come out, put his neck on the line, man, and said some things, man. Protect that man at all costs, man. And some of these guys that just out here trying to get a Zuffa check, you got to take what they say with a grain of salt. You got to look at Max Kellerman. If you sit down and you heard Max Kellerman say that Dubois and Wardley fight wasn't a great fight, and he getting paid as a boxing analyst, that says a lot. I wonder why, though. Because, what, Turkey wasn't involved? You got to juice your noodle and think. Why do they say it's an agenda, y'all? That's what this channel is about. Hopefully you was able to put something in your rucksack and march on with. I always say silence is consent, meaning that all it takes for evil to prevail is for men and women to remain silent. So we speak to the things that need to be spoken to. Are we always right? No. Do we have our opinions? Yes. We say, go listen to what everybody else say, and then come hear us cook on it and see if you don't gain or learn or, you know, have a couple laughs or even get enlightened about some things. You know, I appreciate the 300, man. It was good seeing Dev Wall. I was worried. I'm glad to know you still be watching the playbacks. I know life is busy. Seasons are changing. You're doing your thing, but I really appreciate the super chat. We are monetized, y'all. You know, we are monetized, so support the channel, man. It does take bravery to say what everybody's not saying, be willing to actually stand, you know, stand on 10 toes, you know, about the things that we say and just be ourselves. And if the truth is ugly, you know what I'm saying? What we gonna do? Lie? Nah, we not. You know, so I wanted to put something out there, you know, about this and just kind of catch up on the state of boxing. And you ask yourself, man, are you happy with where boxing is going? Now, we are getting good fights. I say 80-20. But like where we're going, we getting ready to go WWE, WWF. And that's not going to be good, man. It's not like the gladiator sport of yesteryear. Yes, they are more cognitive about CTE and getting hit in the head and being more defensively responsible. They're taking care of their bodies and things like that. Yeah. So it is progress in that sense. But like the gladiator sport, like the art of entertainment, like they want to fight, they want to get elite level pay without fighting elite level competition. Or they want to have a standard for one fighter that they don't have for the other. Or this fighter got to do this, this, and that. And like whoever has the most voices, that's why I always say, I be joking about that safety in numbers. It's safety in numbers so that, yeah, you clouting, you like pretty much putting up a wall for your favorite fighter to take cover behind, you know, while he moving all kind of funny. You know, that's the safety. Who gonna speak that real? Who gonna be like Roy? Who gonna say something that need to be said when it's not the most popular thing to say it? Who gonna do that? Will it be you? You know, anyways, y'all know I could talk that boxing all day and all night. Thanks for choosing Bodywork Boxing. But we don't take things for face value. We do that body work.
He didn't want to box. He wanted to actually prove that he could punch with you. He was like, what the fuck is this nigga, right? Oh, okay, you want to go to sleep. You tired.
Welcome to Bodywork.